Northern Kentucky University, and the highlight of the conference for me thus far has been the Teaching Take Test session this morning, because it brought together teachers, museum educators, and college professors, and we had a really meaningful dialogue about teaching to the test and helping fight back against that tendency for classroom teachers, and we talked about strategies for overcoming the issues that are keeping P-12 teachers and the teachers in the academy and museum educators apart. So it was really wonderful to bring everybody together.
My name is Gloria Sesso, and I'm a director of social studies for a school district on Long Island, New York. And the highlights of it has been they've had wonderful sessions helping people to prepare for the new AP American History coming across. Plus they've had good, I went to the War of 1812 session, which was excellent. The discussion was, the teaching luncheon was excellent, because you learned about Daniel Day-Lewis and the frontier, and that was great. And I also loved the Republic of Nature, that discussion on the books. So it's been a great experience.
So my name's Dennis Kremen, and I think the latest session for me was very interesting in terms of a highlight, thinking about how historians actually teach and how they use textbooks to cover a lot of things, but they find out that students don't learn very well when they're just learning facts. And so what emerged from this was, should you tell stories, narratives that embed this, or should you set up arguments that would divide that out? And I think ultimately we want students to learn well and to think about history and to think about the historical process. And I think that's at the core of what we're doing here.
Hi, I'm Bart Elmore from the University of Virginia, and it's been a great conference experience here in Milwaukee. I think the best aspect of it has been getting to hang out with scholars that I've admired, graduate students for the past 6 years, and have them comment on papers and be there as a mentor and just get comments on my work. So it's been a great week, and look forward to a couple more panels this afternoon.
Fantastic.
Larry May. I'm at the OAH convention in Milwaukee.
And the highlight of your convention?
The highlight of the convention, there's about 100 plus sessions, so you can only go to 4 or 5. I've been to just about that many. I would say one of the great ones was Escaped Slaves, Self-Emancipation. It was very good because the historian had actually dug up testimony of escaped slaves, because they wrote letters to friends, and he pointed out that the Postal Service had just started cheap stamps and had spread literacy among slaves in the border states, and that this sort of network was far larger than what we have seen in terms of the Underground Railway, that it was really something resembling the beginning of pre-politics amongst the slave community. And you can look forward and see that this also set the stage for blacks' political sophistication in Reconstruction. There was another terrific one on the news sources for thinking about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and a woman came from the Soviet Union, and she had looked at archives that we as American historians have had very little access to, and she told us about the response of people like Khrushchev and the Secretary of State, I'm going blank on his name, for the Cuban Missile Crisis, a Secretary of State for the Soviet Union. And basically the new finding there was for us that how much Khrushchev and the Secretary began to feel that Castro was a very erratic force, and that and they didn't want to turn any of the weapons over to him, and that they were actually getting a bit afraid of him near the end, and this is one reason they wanted to cut the deal with the United States, and because they were beginning to be afraid of Castro. I mean, it was quite remarkable that I was thinking through it, my goodness gracious, these Cubans were really willing to push the button, and the Russians became very alarmed by that. And they, like Kennedy, wanted to cut some deal because they didn't want an atomic war.